Having a real estate business without a strong online presence is like trying to sell homes with no listings. In today's world, a professional website isn't just a nice to have. It's an essential tool for growing your real estate brand, connecting with potential buyers and sellers, and ultimately closing more deals. If you don't have one, you're missing out on serious leads while other agents show up in search results and scoop up all those opportunities. So today I'm going to walk you through exactly how to create a stunning real estate website that builds trust, attracts clients, and helps you grow your business. And stick around because I'm also going to share the biggest mistake that most realtors make and how you can easily avoid it. The first big decision that you'll make is which platform you'll use to build your website on. And my top recommendation for that, hands down, is Wix. After building websites myself for over a decade, I can confidently say that Wix checks every box a realtor needs. It's beautifully customizable, super intuitive to use, and packed with features that make showcasing listings, collecting leads, and booking showings effortless. With Wix, you can build a professional real estate site without needing to hire an expensive designer or developer. And best of all, it's completely free to try. You can play around with templates and layouts until your vision really comes to life, all without spending a dime. So to begin, go ahead and click on the link right up here, or check out the link in the description below. And after you click on that link, we will actually today, by the end of this video, you will walk through every step needed to build your own site. So go ahead and click on that now and we'll get started. Okay, so assuming that you clicked on the link, you're gonna be brought to this page here, and all we need to do is put in our email address and then click on Start Now, and you'll be brought to this page. So what you wanna do is just put your email in again, and then put your password twice. You can also, you see on the right side, it says continue with Google or Facebook. I actually don't recommend that you do that, just because it's easier when you have it all tied to an email address, because you're probably gonna use other systems and other software and such while building your website. So it just makes sense to keep it tied to an email. So I recommend that, but go ahead and put that information in. And once that's in, go ahead and click on sign up. Here it is. Who are you creating a website for? For myself, my business, or a friend? That's what we want to click. Go ahead and click continue from there. And then we come to this page. So this is a chat with AI. And you may think, well, I don't want to talk to artificial intelligence about my site. You do. You definitely do. So the whole thing about this chat with AI, what it's going to do is it's going to put a lot of they'll ask you a lot of different questions, and then it kind of sets up your site before you actually go into it, right? So just building a, like a realtor or real estate website type deal is so much easier after having this conversation with AI, because it's gonna do a lot of the heavy lifting. So we definitely do wanna do this. So we're gonna go ahead and click on Start Chat. And this is the first question. So first, tell me what your site is all about. So I'm gonna go ahead and put an answer here. And I put, I am a registered realtor located in Chicago, Illinois. I want to have a website to grow my online presence and showcase the properties I'm trying to sell. So go ahead and click next there, or enter there. And then it asks, what is the name of your real estate business? So go ahead and put that in. So I just put a ridiculous name, Ronnie Real Estate. My name's Ron, by the way. Obviously put your own in, but yeah, put your name there. That asks, what is the main focus of your website? So showcasing properties, providing real estate resources, or something else. So we'll go ahead and answer this. And I put mostly showcasing properties, but also letting people know about me and educating them about how to get the most money in any real estate transaction. So we'll go ahead and press next. And then do you have any additional goals for your website, such as capturing leads, offering virtual tours, or integrating a blog section? So you can actually choose this. I'm just going to say yes to all the above because I think it makes sense to just kind of show it all to you. So it really just depends on what you need. But I'll just put yes to all. And it asks, what makes your real estate services stand out from others in Chicago? And I put, I have a small real estate company that focuses mostly on relationships and trust to keep our clients satisfied. I've also personally sold hundreds of properties and have been in real estate for over 12 years. None of this is true, by the way. This is me just showing you what you might write, right? So we'll go ahead and click next. Okay, after all the questions, it's going to say here, you are all set. And on the right side, we see a site profile. So this basically tells you more about kind of what the AI understands through the conversation. And it should be pretty much dead on. It always is. If you see anything there that's weird, don't worry about it. It just basically is telling you. It's essentially a summary. But we can always adjust everything. So click on Go to Dashboard. And then what it's going to do, it's going to take a minute here to set everything up. So just let it do what it does. And then when it's done, you're going to be met with this page here, right? Right here, this is actually the CMS, the content management system. This is kind of the administrator portal, the back end of the site that none of your visitors will ever see. And I'm going to go over this in a minute, but I know that the most important thing to you is actually getting a website up. So just because I want to show you how quick this can happen, I want to actually get a website up, right? So first thing we're going to do before we dive into this, let's go to design site and come here. How would you like to design your site? Would you like to customize a template or generate a design with AI? Now, a minute ago, I wanted you to talk to AI because I thought it made sense. In this particular instance, I actually don't think that you should be generating a design with AI. At this point, when I'm making this whole tutorial here, that isn't that good yet. It just basically, I mean, it does make a site, but it's a very generic, very simple and basic site. So I'm not a huge fan of that. I typically like to actually go with templates. And I like to go with templates because they usually look a little bit nicer. You know, developer or a designer took time to kind of review them and make sure they look good. So I prefer to do a template when building a website. Now you may be thinking, oh, you know, I don't want to do a template because it's a template and other people have used a template. That's true. Other people have used a template, but here's the reality. Most realtors that are out there, I would put it in the high 90%, maybe more, 98%, really high in number. They use templates. Okay, most local businesses use templates, and here's the reason why. A template isn't necessarily, you don't have to just copy and paste everything and leave it as is. With a template, what you're doing is you're getting the skeleton or the bones, if you will, of a site, you know, of a version that you like. And then what you do is you can customize the images, you can customize the text, you can customize the colors, you can customize everything fully. You can hire a developer and completely gut the whole thing and change it. But the point is that a template makes it really easy to get started. It makes it really fast to get started and a lot quicker to actually get a site up and going. And frankly, the templates usually are built out, you know, in this case, for realtors. So they'll have all the pages that you need. It'll pretty much be ready to go right out of the box. You may need to tweak a few things, but I highly recommend a template for that reason. And again, you can customize it all you want, right? So let's go ahead and click pick a template. And then we are going to be met with this page here, okay? So what this is this is going to be essentially the different templates that Wix offers, right? And you can see here, commercial real estate agent, real estate associate broker, real estate broker, real estate consultant, agency, landing page, et cetera, et cetera. What you want to do, and I'm actually going to go to here and I'm going to, we'll just, oh, we do have real estate agent. We'll leave it at that. What you want to do is you want to look at these and you want to basically look at it and say, okay, what are the top, you know, 3, maybe 5 versions that I like for my own website design, right? And you can go to page 2. There's obviously a lot of different things. We're getting into real estate attorneys here, which is a little bit different, but there are a lot of different options here, right? And what you want to do is you really want to look at it and say, okay, what are the ones that I actually like the most? And then just choose the 3 that really kind of catch your eye, right? So we'll go ahead and do that. So for me, I'm going to pick this corporate one here. I like this one here. And we'll do this one here because it looks personal. Okay. And actually, yeah, so they have real estate agent landing pages. So if you have individual properties, you can always just choose one of these. But I'm going to assume that you're in a situation to where you're trying, you know, you have your own real estate agent and you're trying to build your own type of website. That's what I'm going with. But there's obviously many different options here. So what we're going to do, we're going to click into here. We're going to close these. Make sure. Okay. So when we get into here, right here, you know, local realty network, home about properties FAQ, you can actually click to our properties and you can see what it would actually kind of look like, right? With all the different properties that you have. So we'll go back here. So this one, we're going to really focus on the home page, right? So our expert services, our sellers, investors, available properties, really emphasizing the properties, which I think is good in your case. Maybe not. Depends on what you're dealing with. Testimonials here. And then a footer where you ask for some information. That one's okay, not bad. Real estate agency. Okay, so here, so Blue Sky Buyer Agency. We want to click on menu just to actually see home about listings, FAQ, and contact. Okay, so you can see all the listings here, the different services. We would obviously adjust this to whatever we need. Why choose us? I kind of like that section. I think that looks nice. Our listings, this is good. This will go over all the different listings that they have. Testimonials, okay, that looks nice. And the contact information. Okay, great. And then we'll go to the third one. I'm only going to do 3. Again, like I said, usually I just advise people do 3 to 5. Don't go to 10, 15, 20. You can really kind of paralyze yourself here, right? So I'd say just pick like 3 to 5. You can always adjust it later. This one looks a little bit more personal. Granted, it's supposed to be a real estate consultant, so we'll see what this is. So about me, Embrace Services. Okay. This isn't really, I mean, I don't even know if they'll have a properties page built out here. Yeah. Okay, so this one's a no-go. That's not really what we want. I'm not a huge fan of the first one. So we're going to say this one, right? We're going to say this one. Now, remember, there's a lot of them out there. There's a lot of them on Wix. You can choose any of them. I'm going to go with this one. Any of them that you choose. What I'm going to do in this tutorial, I'm going to show you the different functionality that Wix offers and kind of what it can do. But you can really take my advice here that I'm going to give you and push it into any of the different templates that you use, right? So with this one, we'll click on edit this site and we'll say this is the one we want. After you click it, it's going to take a minute. It's going to set everything up. So just let it do that. Okay, so once it's done, you're going to be brought to this page here. And this is actually your site, right? So our site is kind of ready to go. I'll show you in a second. But first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click to zoom to 100% because that just makes sense. And we can basically jump in here and adjust this page, etc. Now, before we adjust the page, I just want to show you right now how quick it is to actually get your site up, right? Because, I could sit here and edit it. But before we do, I just want to show you exactly how quick this is. So we're going to click on publish and it's that quick. So we'll click on view site here. Technically speaking, at this point, you have a website. It was that quick. You have a website. That's exactly the template that you saw. There are a few things, right? Like this URL right here. That is the URL that you currently have. And then you also will have this like weird ad thing on top, which obviously as a realtor, you don't want that, right? You want to have your custom URL, etc. So that said, we're going to close out of this. What you want to really do is we will go into here. Sorry, we'll go to Wix right here. And we want to go into the CMS. And what we'll do here, this is the CMS. Now, here's the thing to understand. So that URL that you have is very ugly, right? Like I said, you probably want your own brand. You got this ad on top. In order to get rid of those, you do have to upgrade to one of their paid plans. But before you get mad about that, it's actually really affordable. Wix is very affordable for what they offer. And there's a lot of different functionality, like depends on what level you want for what functionality, but just the most basic level is super affordable. It includes security, it includes hosting. It's really not a bad price, especially, even when you compare it to like WordPress, which everyone says is free, it's not. There's, a lot of things that you got to get, but with this, it's very, very affordable. So just know that if you have to like the lowest plan or whatever, or a higher one, if you want to do certain things, it is very reasonable for what it is, which is why I always recommend it for realtors, right? But here you can obviously put in whatever domain you actually want, click on Let's Go, and you can get that all set up. Plus, another thing that's really nice, right now, if you click on, well, I don't want to click on that. If you want to click on Upgrade or whatever, there's 15% or 50% off while I'm doing this. I don't know in the future if you watch this, if this is still going to be around or if it'll be something else. I don't know. But as of right now, it's that, which is actually a pretty good deal. So keep that in mind. It is a good deal. It is totally worth it. I can tell you from 10 years of it doing this, it's worth it. But you may want to upgrade. But anyway, that's, I don't want to pressure you or anything, but that's something to consider for sure. But let's, I digress from that. Let's go back. I want to talk about the CMS, the content management system here. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're actually going to design the entire site, and I'll do it while you watch, right? So, the CMS, the content management system, here's what it is. This is the back end. This is the administrative portal. I said that earlier. Right here is setup and home, pretty self-explanatory, right? It's, setting everything up, getting it ready. Getting paid, you can actually accept payments directly on your site, okay? So depending on what it is that you're doing, you probably wouldn't accept like a whole commission here. That doesn't really make sense. But in the, instance that you offer specialized services of some sort, then you could actually list those and charge for those. For instance, if you offer appraisals or like home valuations, you could actually list that on your site and you could have people pay before you even show up, things like that. And there's some other cool stuff that you could do too, but getting paid, that's basically what that's for, is if you have any specialized services that you offer, you can set that up in there. Booking calendar. Now, booking calendar is pretty cool. And the reason for that is because you can manage it yourself, do it all yourself and have it all there. That's fine. Or what you can do, people who want to work with you, you can actually share a calendar with them and they can choose what day and time works best for them. which is nice. And you can always say, like, you could close it off and say, I don't, do showings on Monday and Wednesday. I just don't do them, and close it off. And they're going to see just, okay, well, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday is available, right? So this calendar is nice because it allows you full flexibility to just send a link to somebody and say, okay, pick your time that works for you, right? And then they'll be able to do all that. Now, you can always, like I said, not offer this. And if you just want to manage it all yourself, you can. But having that offer really makes it, it'll take a lot of the administrative stuff off of your plate and just make it easy where you're like, here's a link, go ahead and book your time, and then, I'll meet you there or whatever. Sales, not really relevant here, like gift cards, things like that. Catalog, again, this is like if you do booking services. So this is if you do anything like appraisal, those sort of things, we can set that up in there. Blog, not a requirement. It is an optional thing, but I actually think that you should have a blog just because you can, update people about the local market, update people about things that you're doing. They can kind of follow along, and it really does help give you more visibility in search engines as well. Portfolio. So this is basically just kind of to showcase different projects. In your case, it's going to be the different properties that you're working on or have contracts with, etc. It'll be that. Apps. So this is good. So the app market. So one thing to know is that Wix does not, by itself have a tie-in to IPX to show all the different properties out there. But what you can do is you can actually use there's an app in there called Home Finder, which will actually allow you to get the IPX access. So you can do all that if need be. But that's really what the app market is for, is if you want a site and you have, a portfolio of 5, 10, 15 properties and you just want to build a page for each, you could do that. If you want full IPX access and you want to showcase other properties, etc., you could do that too. Just depends on what you really want, right? But that's what the app market is. It makes those tie-ins and doing that stuff very easy. That's not that easy to do. And the app market makes it much, much easier to do. Next is site and mobile apps. So website and SEO and logo and brand. This is stuff that's important. We won't go over it too much here, but stuff that you should know about that they have. Inbox, as you get inquiries inbound into your site, they will be stored here. You can also forward these to an external email address too. So if you have that, don't worry, that's something you can do. Customers and leads. This is basically a place where you'll see like a repository of all the different people who have reached out to you. So you can see all that there. Marketing, not going to talk about it much here, but any help with marketing or information, you can use that. Analytics, this will actually help you with understanding anybody that comes to your site, where they're coming from, etc., and really realizing that and seeing what pages they're seeing, the properties they're seeing, etc. And then automations. Again, this is more advanced. Automations and settings are more advanced stuff. We won't talk about it here, but there is a lot more functionality that you can do if you're interested in doing that. But that said, that is the CMS content management system. So let's actually go back to the homepage and actually talk about designing it. Because now the CMS is taken care of. So now we have to get into designing the homepage. Now, when you look at a homepage, when you look at any site, there's something to understand. So the top right here is called the header. The bottom, all the way down here, is called the footer. Okay? Every page, what you want to do is you want to edit that middle part. The thing to understand is the header, which usually has the website navigation, and the footer are on every single page. And then the middle part of each page is what you're really editing, okay? So what we want to do when we're looking at editing, we're going to edit the homepage here. Before we even start on the homepage itself, we want to look at the header, look at the footer, make sure those are good. And then once those are good, we can start to edit the homepage. Okay, so that said, let's look first here at the header of the site. And what we really want to do, first things first, don't really need a cart. Not sure why they have that. And first things first is let's look at the menu. We'll click on edit menu here. And this is actually going to be all the different pages that are on the site. So we have home, about, listings, FAQ, contact, portfolio, blog, and book online. Okay, so all those different pages, we actually have too many, frankly. I don't think that we want all those pages. So we're going to click on edit menu again. What we want to do is manage the menu. And we just have too much here. FAQ, so I'm going to click into each one of these. So the about, yeah, we're going to want to have an about page. That makes sense to keep, right? And wish we can close out of each of these. Manage menu. Listings, we know we're going to want to keep. FAQ, I don't think we're going to want to keep. Let's go ahead and check. Yeah, so FAQ, we definitely don't want to keep. So let's go ahead and we're going to manage the menu. We are going to just straight up delete. You can also hide it, hide from menu, but I'm just going to delete the FAQ page because there's really just no reason for it. And then we'll look. So we have home, about, listings, contact. Good, 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 good. Portfolio is pretty much the same as listings, so I don't think that we need that. We'll hide this one. Blog is good. And then book online, I would usually hide this, but I'm just going to show you, I want to show you the functionality of the calendar and everything. So I'm going to leave it, but that's kind of along the lines of the contact page. Okay. So we'll talk about that in a minute. So this is actually a much better one. The one that we are missing, the page that we're missing is the testimonial page. Okay. So what we want to do is click on manage menu, add page. Now there isn't a testimonial page template that you can use, but just hear me out here. Click on general. Do something that you think looks okay. We're going to adjust most of it anyway. So I'm just going to say, let's choose this one, add page. Take a second to actually build it out for us. Okay, we'll click on edit menu. It's not the general page, so we'll go manage menu again. So we're gonna make this into rename testimonials. Okay, we'll click on done. Okay, so we've got home, about, we'll probably put testimonials in the middle. Listings, contact near the bottom, like that. Probably, yeah, we just want to adjust it here. Manage menu. I would say testimonials near the blog. That'd probably make more sense. Okay, so we have home, about. Wish that we can close like that. Hold on. Let me click on preview. This will make it easier. So we have home, about, listings, testimonials, blog, contact, and book online. Again, contact and book online, for the most part, would probably be the same page, right? I would say now the header is pretty good. The one thing we would obviously want to change would be the logo or the name associated with it, whatever you want to do. You could just put a name, you know, Ronnie's, I don't remember what I called it, but we'll just call it Ronnie's Realty. Yeah, we can add the text here, or you could just throw in a logo, whatever makes sense. If you do want to do a logo, just add elements, image, and upload images, assuming that you have a logo. If you don't have a logo, I showed you in the back end of the CMS, they talk about logo there. You can go into there, I can help you make it. So it really just depends on what you need. But in this particular case, we're on the testimonial page. Let me go back to the home page here. I think that the navigation is good, or the header is good. We can also expand it, make it a little bigger if we want, something like that. That's totally fine to do. You can throw your social media links up here. So let's just say that we'll want to do that. Add, and what we want to do is go to social, and let's say, you get one that you think looks good with the theme. So we'll just say this one, and we'll just throw it right in the middle there. It's kind of hard to do this on my trackpad, but I'll throw it in the middle, that, and then to adjust that, you click in, you can set social links, etc. It's very easy. Again, the name or the logo, you have the social media, and then you have the menu over here. I think that the header is good now. Next, we want to go down to the footer. So the footer, pretty easy to manage this. Now, the biggest thing to understand with Wix, and one of the biggest positives, is that you can just click and drag something, right? If you don't like it. That may seem simple. Really, it does, but it's actually not. If you work in WordPress, all these other things, you got to know some code to be able to do things. Here, you don't need that. So we could just click and drag and say, yeah, Blue Sky Buyer Agency. Obviously, we changed the name. And what we would do is we double click into here. We can make it bigger, smaller, whatever you think makes sense for your site, you can do that. We can change the colors of it, anything that you want, basically. And I'll show you images. We can do a lot with images too. But anyway, we would put the name. Let's just say we want it there. The text, everything's as easy as just clicking in and typing it out. I mean, it's really self-explanatory, frankly. It's not hard to do it. Again, that seems like it should be simple. It's not that easy on all sites, believe it or not. So it is nice that they just give you the ability to do that. Here they have the subscribe to our newsletter, which is interesting. So what we want to do here, adding a form. I just want to show you how to add a form. So we're going to click on edit form. And here, obviously, we don't have a form yet. So we have to add one in, right? It knows that, brings us into the CMS and say, hey, build your form. So for the form, what do we actually want? Let's just say that we want their first name, last name, email, and long answer. You could do the phone number too, but let's just say that we want the long answer. Long answer, we're going to change it. How can I help you? Right? Click save, get that all set. That's all good to go. And then here, it's still not here. What we want to do is click on settings and then go into forms, my form, there it is. And there you go. You now have a form. People can submit the form. And you have to adjust where the actual form is going to, but it's all there. Here on the right side, you just see that we have this, this information here. We obviously don't need the powered and secured by Wix little thing there, but 2035 by Blue Sky Buyer Agency, etc. So just adjust it to the name of your realtor, your company, whatever it is that you have. Adjust all the content, but it's really easy to do that. But as of right now, we've got the header and the footer done. So let's kind of dive into the body of the homepage. Your homepage is the front door to your online presence. This page should immediately communicate your area of focus. So whether it's residential, luxury, commercial, or something else. You want to feature a high quality hero image, a quick introduction, and an easy to spot call to action like view listings or schedule a showing. You want visitors to instantly know what you do, where you work, and how to take the next steps. Okay, so the body of the homepage, I like, your trusted real estate partner in Chicago, Illinois. It's pretty good, actually. Discover your dream home with Ronnie Real Estate. Nothing really wrong with that either. Now, here's something to consider. So this is obviously like a modern architecture. You may want to change the background to something that you actually, if you represent a specific area, like if it was just Chicago, I could do Chicago skyline, right? So let's go into an image and let's put that here. So we have media from Wix and Unsplash, which are both free. We have Shutterstock, which costs a little bit of money. It's usually like $3 to get something. And then we have the AI image creator, which I'll dive into in a minute here. But media from Wix, let's see if we could just put Chicago and see if they'll give us. Okay. So we could, technically just say, yeah, you know what? We like that one. We're going to change that background. And there you go. Now, this doesn't really work, mainly because the text really dives into it and doesn't really work out well. So let's change the background one more time. I just don't like how that looks for obvious reasons. Maybe we want something with a little bit more color. Let's change the background here, see if that's better. It's a little bit better. We may say, hey, you know what? We have to change this color. Maybe we got to change it to black or put some type of highlight behind it, right? We'll just put a highlight behind it. And then we want to do, this obviously needs some spacing. So we would adjust that. Let's go to here. Character line and spacing. Just really hard to do this with my trackpad. We don't want character spacing. We want vertical text. There we go. Okay. A little bit more. Okay, there we go. Your trusted real estate partner in Chicago, Illinois, right? And then this. Again, it may not be perfect, right? The point is you can adjust this and take your time to adjust it. I'm going to leave it just as is, just to keep moving on. Again, I want to show you the functionality, but you get the point. So that is that part. You have here the browse properties. That makes a lot of sense. You can also, I'm going to save right here. You can also click on preview at any time to see your live website, which I highly recommend. It just helps to really, there's one thing to see it in the backend and then one thing to actually go and click on it. So here we go and click on browse properties and it'll actually bring us into the properties, which is great. I recommend that you have that set up, right? So that's all good. Let's go ahead and go back to editor. Okay, and we'll go to the home page. Okay, so we have all that set up. We then have our services. So this talks about the different services that you offer. If you're a realtor, probably, being the representative for buyers and sellers, maybe something else. Like I said, maybe you do appraisals, things like that. You can list all those things out. I think that's fine. Why choose Ronnie Real Estate? Obviously your own brand. This one to me is self-explanatory, right? You really want to kind of give more information about why it is that you're the right person to choose for them. Makes a lot of sense to have this on the homepage. So I think this is good. Just a good section to have. It kind of proves, hey, this is why you need me. This is why we're good, right? Explore our property listings, and you may say, well, hey, I like this here, right? I think this is good. Why choose Ronnie Real Estate? But like our services, right? Our services, well, maybe we want the our services section down. We'll click into here. We'll actually click right here. And now it's down. That easy. So your trusted partner, why choose Ronnie Real Estate? Why we're good. Our services, our explore property listings. Now, remember, you already have property listings, a button right here. So you don't really need that at the top. So that's fine. So that's all good. Then we got client testimonials, which is a good thing. I I mean, I built out a whole page for testimonials. I think that's fine to do too. I don't think that there's ever a situation where too many testimonials is a bad thing. So I think it's good to just prove that you're good at what you do. So we'll leave that. And then we just get into the footer that we already did. So right now, I think the homepage is in a pretty good place. Again, I would adjust this image, tweak it, make it exactly as you want. But I think this is a pretty good homepage. The header and the footer is all set. So in my eyes, we're pretty good with the homepage here. So we'll go ahead and click on save and we can move on to the next page. The property listings page is where the magic happens. So this page should display active properties with photos, prices, key details, and an easy way to inquire or schedule a tour. Now, Wix makes it simple to keep the page updated, and you can even filter properties by neighborhood, price range, or home type, and give visitors a seamless browsing experience. The next page is the property listings page. So obviously a very, very important page. So we'll go ahead and click on listings here. And here you just want to show, so this, basically says, hey, find your dream property. You can adjust this, keep this, whatever you want. But obviously imagery is a big deal when it comes to this stuff. So what we're going to do, we're going to click on manage media. And what you can do is you can actually have for each one of the properties, multiple different pictures, right? So it's probably easier to show you with a preview mode. But here you have this information, right? Maybe you put the address of the place, right? And then you just have images that go right into it, right? Where they can see all the different images. They can click in and they can actually read. So any of these images here, they can click into them and read, or like, as you see here, they have property D, property E. Really just depends on how many properties you have, right? But in this case, let's say that we'll go with the example here. So if you have all these different properties, they can click into each one, they can learn more about them, and you can write whatever you want in these. I mean, there's just a ton of information that you can put here. It just depends on how much you want to put. But it's pretty easy to do, right? It doesn't take much. So we'll go back to editor here. So I'll show you how to actually do it. So we go into here, we see Wix Pro Gallery, that's fine. We'll click on Manage Media. And each one of these, this is property A. Here's all the information about property A. Here's property B, C, D, and so forth. So you can actually list them this way. You can also look at them this way, whatever makes it easier for you to actually showcase it. And if you want to, I mean, if you go into settings here, you can actually change the entire look of this, the whole layout. You can adjust everything that you want. We could do something like a collage instead. We could do all these different things to change the look so that people can see, say, hey, here's a property. Oh, I like this one. They click into it. They can learn more about it, right? Just depends on how you really want it to look. But it's very simple to adjust all this. And the biggest thing is, like I said, I mean, what you really want to do is showcase the properties and then make it so people can click and they can read more. And that's really what Wix is set up really well to do, is make it all this whole section. You could just fill it with whatever information that you need. And then they will obviously contact you if they need a showing or that sort of stuff. So pretty easy to set it up, the listings page. Now, when you get into IDX and all that, and you get into a full database of information, you may need to build out a page with additional help, et cetera. But if you have a select group of properties like this that you're really representing, you could pretty easily, I mean, at any time, it's pretty easy to add a property to it, right? You just go into here and you say, okay, let's click into here, manage media. If you have a property to add, you just click add media, you add an image, you add a description, title, and you're good to go. And then it will automatically all curate onto here. And then when when one's sold or off the market, whatever, you can pull it off of there too. Super easy to manage all that. The properties page makes it really easy and just makes it visually stunning, which is definitely the biggest thing with realtors, to make a visually stunning website. And I think that this really is really nice. Now, something that's worth mentioning on this page too. Now, I'm not going to build it out because it would take me probably 30 to 40 minutes. You can actually set up a filtering system too. So if you want to have different checkboxes and everything, you add inputs and then you tie the inputs to the data that is for the property. So it can be done. It gets a little bit more granular than what we're going to get into this tutorial, but it can be done. If you're curious, yes, you can do it. It is possible. They do have the ability to do that with this page. Next is the About page, and buying or selling a home is a personal decision, and clients want to know who they're working with. On this page, you want to share your story, how you got into real estate, what you love about your market, and what sets you apart from other agents. If you've won any awards or have certifications, highlight them here as well. This really helps build trust and helps clients feel connected to you before they even pick up the phone. This is the About page, obviously a very important page. This one seems to have some random picture of some random guy in here, which is fine. We'll just click and bring that up. It doesn't really need to be, we don't need our own section for that. And we will click and drag this up, right? So maybe we just have, an image of you or whatever, some people in your team here, have some information here about what it is that you're offering, et cetera. And then here we have meet our real estate experts. So this is kind of like if you have a realtor, or a real estate practice, if you will, that has multiple different people, you can have that, multiple realtors under the same, under the same roof. You can do that, or you can adjust it to where it's just you and you can customize this page however you need. Again, it's drag and drop, so it makes it easy. If you need to, you can click right here, add section and about, and you can see here, these are all the different about sections. So if it's just you and you're the only realtor, you can just click and drag this in and just delete this old section. It's totally fine to do that. One thing I do want to show you that I promised I'd show you earlier is the AI image generation. So I'm going to click into here. I'm going to change the image, okay? And we are going to go to the AI image creator. Now, I would never actually use it here because it's the About page. You want to picture yourself. But I want to show you what this is capable of. And the reason why I'm showing you it's actually good to know is that if you are looking for the perfect photo and you just can't seem to find it, doing it this way, it'll make it so you don't have to pay for any photos. You just basically have AI create it, and then you use it, and you're good to go. So let me set this up. I just put an image of a house with a large green field in front of it. We'll go ahead and click on Create Image. And I also chose photo for the style. I think that's usually the most realistic one. So let's say that this is the perfect image, right? And it looks actually pretty decent. Every image would be different, whatever prompt you put in here. So we'll go ahead and click Save. And let's say that for whatever reason, we decide, yeah, that's the image that we want to use there. We'll choose the image. And there you go. Now you have that image on there, which was an AI image, but most people won't even know that. Depending on what you put, right, there's the ability to change that image to whatever you want, really. But if you have your own images, especially for the About page, I'd recommend using it. But again, just showing you functionality, the AI image creator is pretty good. And then here, like I said, we have the meet all the different people from our real estate experts. And I showed you the About section. If you just want to change it to something else, go ahead and click on the section maker thing here, add section, and you can change it to whatever you need. The key on this page is to really just make sure that you're really selling yourself, because, realtors, real estate, it's really a personal transaction. And mostly people are buying you, right? When they choose you as the realtor and your trust, the trust that you give them. So just make sure that you take the time to make a really good page that connects with people. Maybe give some personal details, if you have kids or pets or things that'll actually connect with people, share that. But overall, I think this is fine. Obviously, we'd want to adjust it a little bit. But depending on your use case, you could adjust this page as needed. And then we have the testimonials page. So word of mouth is gold in real estate, and nothing builds credibility faster than glowing reviews. So feature testimonials from happy clients along with stories of successful transactions. If you have any before and after scenarios, like helping a client sell quickly or finding their dream home after months of searching, make sure to include those too. Next is a testimonials page. So you may recall we made this earlier, and it's just a pretty ugly page. There's not much to it, right? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do here, testimonials. Wow. Okay, there we go. We will delete that. We'll click into here. We'll try to make this a little bit smaller. Okay, so we'll go with testimonials. We're going to delete this section, and we're going to delete this section. Here's why we're doing it. We need testimonials on the site. We already have them on the home page, if you recall. But maybe we create a whole unique page that has different properties, owners of the properties, things that people will see where they can kind of say, oh, they sold this person, they sold this person. And you can update this page with a ton of testimonials and good things, right? And maybe after you have so many, you just say, yeah, we don't need to update that anymore. But the thing is, the page isn't really built out. A testimonial page, you can't just build out a testimonial page. So here's what you have to do. Go into section, testimonials, and now we can actually choose different testimonial modules, if you will, that we want to insert, right? So we'll insert that one, and we'll add another section for testimonials, and we'll do this one, right? We'll stop there, but you get the point. You can add different modules in here. So we have testimonials. We can adjust this. One thing to make sure too, make sure that you choose the different slides, because this is a slideshow. So there's multiple slides. There's 3 slides. Make sure you edit each of them. Same thing with here, actually. Make sure that you manage the slides, change each of them. These are images of people, but you could put images of properties too, and just put it, and just put a lot of different testimonials on here so that people know that you're trustworthy, that you've worked with a lot of people, you've had a lot of success. People, that social proof and those testimonials are huge for realtors, because the last thing they want is someone who's, not going to give them enough money for their property, So you just want to make sure, or negotiate the best deal. So you want to make sure that they really understand that you're the right person for them. One of the best ways to do it is through a testimonial page, and just put a lot of testimonials up there and do your best to continually update it. Now with the contact page, you want to make it ridiculously easy to get in touch. This page should include a short form, your phone number, your email address, office location, and links to all your social profiles. If you offer free consultations or home valuations, make sure that offer is front and center as well. Next is the contact page. So we have a full page here in the menu. When you go to it, connect with Ronnie Real Estate, get an image here. We can adjust that to whatever we need. And here we have a form, right? So here's what you can do. You can actually just click settings and choose the same form that we made earlier. If you want to do that, we can do that. Or you can adjust it and make a whole new form. It really depends. In this particular case, it makes sense to use the same form. It's totally fine. So we're just going to use the same form and just go ahead and save that. But the contact page, I would also say, it definitely makes sense here. Let's make sure that we add, some contact information. Granted, it is down here in the footer, but I would say it makes sense to add it up here too. So we just click on add elements, add text. I would do theme text, and I would do, like a paragraph, maybe just right up here, call, whatever the information is, right? Whatever you need, and then just kind of align it to where it's appropriate, to where they can call you directly, email, etc. Maybe put that up in there. But overall, the contact page, pretty simple. You just need a form, contact information, you're good to go. Okay, now along with contact, I mentioned earlier that I do contact and kind of book online at the same time, right? So book online, this is kind of an interesting way of doing it, right? So this would be, if you want a home appraisal, things like that, you'd be able to set this up. You can also just set up the calendar without all this, but I just want to show you what you can do with the contact page. So you could basically go to people, and if they say, hey, I need a showing here, or, I need you as a realtor to, help me. Usually you're going to have that first call to where you kind of understand them, understand what they need, etc. You can have that set up, have it to where it's completely free. It costs $0. They click book now, right? And they can actually choose on your calendar, which I mentioned earlier, they can choose on your calendar what works. So if you only want to do these on Thursdays, you could just have all Thursdays open, every other day blocked off. You can do that. They would click on Thursday, right? They would click on the time, and then they click on next, and you go through the whole process, right? Now this does require, again, you do actually have to buy a plan through Wix to get this functionality. But to help you reduce the amount of administrative tasks you have to do, I think this is very well worth it. I think it's just a cool little, way of making life a lot easier for somebody who's trying to run their own business. I'd recommend it for you, but again, it just depends on what your needs are. But that's the other part, and you could obviously tie this into the contact page, etc. But I just wanted to show you the functionality because I think it's really cool and I think it makes a lot of sense. Now this next one is optional, but it can be helpful. This is the blog or neighborhood guides. So if you want to go the extra mile, a blog or local guide section can really set you apart. Share tips for buyers and sellers, spotlight local businesses, or write about up and coming neighborhoods. This boosts your SEO. It'll help potential clients get to know your expertise and keeps your site fresh. And we also need to get into the blog here. Now, again, this page is optional, but I think that it makes sense because you can basically showcase your expertise, talk about all the things that you know as a local with knowledge, etc. And I just noticed this is an AI generated image. This guy is shaking a hand that has no arm attached. Now, the AI generated images aren't always perfect, but the point is, right, is that we have all these different images here, and we have all these different posts. So the way that a blog works, when somebody clicks on your blog, they're going to see a bunch of different blog posts. That's what we see here on the screen. These are blog posts. So there's a blog, and then every blog post that you write goes onto the blog, okay? So let me show you really quick here in the preview. And this is just the way they set websites up in the beginning. I don't know why. So we go here, we see, we click in. This is a blog post. Each one of these is a blog post, right? It's got an image and then some text, right? Now to manage the blog, it's actually really easy. They make it really simple with Wix. So we're going to go back into the editor here. We'll click in All you got to do is click on Manage Posts. It brings you back into the CMS, the content management system. And in the content management system, you can click on Create New Post, and it'll develop a post for you. I'll click on Edit on a current one. But basically, you go into here. It's really simple to do, right? You just put the title here, and then your content within. If you wanted to add another image, for instance, we click here, Enter. We'll put Enter twice. Click this little plus thing, and then you can choose whatever you need right here, right? And just add it, and then the actual typing. I mean, it's simple typing. I don't, you know how to type, but actually formatting, they make it really easy. It's almost like, you just click in, you can kind of look around, understand everything. Makes it really easy to do. They also have some AI tools to kind of help you, outline things and get things ready as well. It helps you brainstorm, et cetera, which is really helpful. If you're not like the strongest writer, it's really helpful for that. And then once you publish it, whatever the new post would be, right? And you could just do these monthly and give a breakdown of each market monthly that you're working in, something like that. Once you publish it, it'll go to the top of the actual blog, and they'll be able to see it. So it's just going to show each of the different posts every time that you post them, and people can comment, like them, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, it's a good way. Again, it's a good way of getting additional exposure within the market, and also to showcase your expertise, which is the biggest thing, which expertise will build trust, et cetera, et cetera. So congrats, you have made it. If you just followed everything in this tutorial, you now have your very own real estate website. And while there will always be different tweaks and improvements that you'll make over time, you've built a solid foundation that you can proudly share with the world. This website gives you the exposure that you need to really succeed online. Oh, and remember that big mistake that most realtors make when building their website that I mentioned in the beginning? Well, spoiler, it's actually not about the website at all. So the number one mistake that most realtors make is not using email marketing effectively. Most visitors to your site aren't ready to act right away, right? They're exploring, comparing, and they're doing their homework. If you're not capturing their email address and staying in touch, you're leaving money on the table. So you want to use email marketing to keep leads warm. You want to offer something in exchange for the contact info. So, you can offer a free home valuation, a buyer's checklist, or a local market report. Then follow up with tips, featured listings, and open house announcements as well. That consistent communication is what turns browsers into buyers. And to make your life easier, I recommend using Brevo. It integrates seamlessly with Wix and makes it really simple to automate your email follow-ups. You can go ahead and find a link for that right up here, or check out the link in the description. And to be clear, it's completely free to try, so I highly recommend it. Your real estate website is more than just a digital business card. It's your online sales engine. It showcases your professionalism, builds credibility, and helps generate the leads that you need to grow. Now, if you found this video helpful, please drop a like, leave a comment, and let me know how your site is coming along. I'm always here to help you make it even better. Thanks so much for watching.